Coming up next, from San Fran Freak Show, The Savage Nation, from Talk 910 KNEW.
Borders, language, and culture, you care about these things. I tell you why they're important. The Savage Nation, weekdays 3 till 7 on Talk 910 KNEW.
Warning. The Michael Savage Show contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised.
And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation. Here is Michael Savage.
The Savage Nation, the vermin in the left-wing media. The vermin in the left-wing media are working overtime to make certain that you and your children are dead. They're now going after the CIA in a way that only the enemies of America could have dreamed. The ACLU is now working hand in glove with the Islamic terrorist network in order to undermine the CIA to a point that we will no longer be able to defend ourselves. Now, look, I'm a student of the immune system. In fact, my best-selling book was translated into 6 languages in 1988, I believe it was, called Maximum Immunity. And I studied the immune system. As you all know, we have white blood cells. Let's say you went to high school and you know about white blood cells. You cut yourself, the white blood cells increase in number. They rush to the site of the injury, and the white blood cells are internal defenders. What happens with a body when the white blood cells get wiped out is that any infection that may invade the body will proliferate to the extent that it will kill the body. The CIA, the police, the military should be seen as our white blood cells, to make it very simple. When you have an autoimmune disease where the body turns on itself and begins to kill its own defense cells, you have an animal or an organism that will die. Right now, the ACLU has given the United States of America AIDS, political AIDS. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? When you have psychotics in the ACLU attacking our white blood cells, i.e., the police, the military, the CIA now, what they're going to do is make this country unable to defend itself, open us up to a massive infection by an invading army or enemy, and we'll all die. And so, therefore, when I say to you the vermin in the media are responsible for every problem we have, you know I'm right. The vermin on MSNBC. The Salenterates on MSNBC, hand in glove with the ACLU, hand in glove with the enemies of America, hand in glove with the Islamic fascists. They are your enemy. Make no mistake about it. They're fighting to destroy you. And if you think my being banned in Britain has no relationship to this, you're insane. I am the most outspoken person in talk radio. I am the most outspoken opponent of the New World Order. I am the most outspoken opponent of Gordon Brown. I am the most outspoken opponent of this very same left-wing rat, Gordon Brown, who just released the Lockerbie bomber. The very same Gordon Brown who released the Lockerbie bomber. Said so, he did so through his Scottish cohort, that he released the Lockerbie bomber for compassionate and merciful reasons. Well, I sent them a letter 2 months ago saying, your own emails say that Michael Savage has never encouraged violence. Michael Savage was put on a list to balance the exclusion list. In other words, to not make the radical Muslims feel singled out. And yet you would not take my name off that list, Gordon Brown, would you? And so I sit here alone, Daniel in the lion's den. I have a number of different analogies. I am alone. I am alone on this. And the forces of evil, the vermin who are now attacking the CIA because they feel so emboldened, because they have a top-flight character of their own in the White House named Barack Hussein Obama, because they now have coverage in the White House surrounded by thugs from the gutters of Oakland and the gutters of Chicago. They're now attacking the very white blood cells that would defend us, the CIA. What man or woman listening to this program right now would ever go to work for an intelligence agency, having such rats as we have in the verminous media and such rats as we have in the National Lawyers Guild and the ACLU out of control right now because they are inside the White House? The enemies are in the gates. The enemies are in the White House. Make no mistake about it. We are ripe for the loss of our very freedom itself. And I said that to a reporter, Jennifer Harper from the Washington Times, who quoted me, and it's up on michaelsavage.com. Here you have a president who uses czars instead of appointed officers. Czars. Out of the Soviet Union, czars. Who gave a president the right to use czars? Who are these czars? Don't you people see what's happened here? Well, listen to what I say inside the Beltway in the Washington Times. I will read you what I said, savage reaction. Scotland's release of Lockerbie bomber Abdel Basset al-Maghiri continues to infuriate a spate of notables, including President Obama, yeah, right, FBI Director Robert S. Mueller III, and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Admiral Mullen, who are convinced that the decision was no humanitarian gesture, but a naive attempt to enhance trade between Britain and Libya that ultimately mocked justice. Talk radio host Michael Savage is particularly piqued, given that his name remains in a list of undesirables banned from Britain. Savage tells Beltway, quote, they put me on this list of murderers and terrorists as a political favor to Islamic nations, Mr. Savage tells Beltway. Shall I continue, or are you bored of it? Would you rather not hear any more? Would you rather hear about a golf game over the weekend? I don't play golf. I'll go on. And Michael Savage is still on the list even as al-Maghiri goes free, he says. Savage's website was also compromised by unknown hackers Saturday, adding to his disquiet and a sense that the general public is not paying attention to the possible opening volleys of a war between East and West. Quote, Savage says, the public is blind, deaf, and dumb. The public is blind, deaf, and dumb. You want to read more? Go to michaelsavage.com. You can read more. And while you're there, check out my new book, Banned in Britain. That's right. And here's my question to you today. How can Gordon Brown release the Lockerbie bomber who was convicted of killing over 200 people and continue to keep Michael Savage in a list of so-called banned people, which includes actual murderers and terrorists? Where's the compassion and mercy that the Scottish judge spoke of? Where's the British justice system? Not permitting me to defend my name and reputation? Not reviewing the emails of their own staff who wrote, quote, there is no evidence of Savage advocating or inciting violence, close quote. And by including Savage on this list of banned individuals, it would help, quote, provide a balance of types of exclusion cases, close quote. My friends, an innocent man has been wronged. Where is the justice and the mercy? 1-800-449-8255 is the phone number. We're also going to talk about the return of killer childhood illnesses as a result of the swamp, the flood, the running over of America by illegal aliens. If you don't like what I'm saying, prove me wrong. What you don't know is that there have been many illnesses that were considered to be wiped out, completely gone. And I want to talk about that today because I have a friend whose children have whooping cough. And it got me thinking about how in the United States over the course of the 20th century, most of the major childhood diseases were wiped out. Pertussis, measles, tuberculosis. This was a huge victory of science over 1,000 years of darkness. But over the past couple of decades, there's been a huge resurgence in these same diseases. Measles, which was declared eradicated in the year 2000, is now back with a vengeance. Progress against TB has slowed dramatically. But there has been a dramatic increase in the number of cases of whooping cough. Over 10,000 cases in 2007 alone. Now, where did these diseases come from? The rise in these illnesses has coincided with a less restrictive immigration policy. The more illegals that come in, the more diseases your children are getting. And while the government might like to have you believe that this is because fewer people are buying into their vaccine mentality, it just happens to be the following. These diseases are more prevalent among, quote, foreign-born by a margin of almost 10 to 1. Did you hear what I said? They're lying to you again. The government is killing your children by flooding America with unscreened illegal aliens. Did you hear this? It just so happens that these diseases are more prevalent amongst foreign-born by a margin of 10 to 1. The question is, do we want to protect our children or not? Do we want to protect our borders, language, and culture or not? Obama is now worked up over health care, but maybe if we shut the borders to disease-ridden illegal aliens, we wouldn't be in the mess we're in right now. Moreover, after he gets through jamming socialized medicine down our throats, he's going to try to jam 30 million illegals down our throats. And so I go back to my main point. I have advocated borders, language, and culture ever since I started in radio in 1994. The New World Order opposes borders. They want open borders. The New World Order opposes a single language that is a cohesive element in any nation. They want a polyglot of languages, the more the merrier, because it keeps people apart. It isolates people. It separates people. It divides people. And they oppose any nation's culture. They do not want nations to have individual identifiable cultures. I have written about it. I've talked about it. That is why the British put Michael Savage on the list of banned people. And that's why you have to help me. That's why you have to go to michaelsavage.com and order the book. That's why you have to pay very close attention to what I'm going to say to you over the next few weeks. Because right after Labor Day, we're going to start a letter writing, email writing campaign to